And at the moment, I'm just blown away by the mightiness of Blazer Gerald. He got map 1 versus Clem. But hands down. Not pants down. I didn't say that. Gerald did 2-0 mana in the first best of 3. He didn't drop a map today. I don't know where that came from, but maybe Gerald just leveled up his his account from yesterday, from the last week or something. There was a certain point where I thought like, hey, there's not much anti-air army left. Vikings Liberators, just a couple of them, instead of 14 Vikings and 5 Liberators, which we had early. I thought like, yes, Colossus would do great. You know what I just saw a split second later? 2 Colossus walking across the map by Gerald. Like, as he had all this planned, he saw the vanishing of Liberators and Vikings, and he thought like, hey, I could add Colossus again. Those things are good. And it is breathtaking to see both of those players play on this level of play. I don't think Clem is being beaten up too hard yet. He will come back into the series. Clem will at least take 2 maps. That's what I'm calling out right now. Yeah, Reaper getting back home. Wait, is that... That looks like a Gateway Cybernetics Core opener, right? Yeah, the Adept is desperately trying to make his way across the map to kill that one SCV out of Clem, to make sure that this base is not finishing in time. A Reaper is not a real harm to the Adept, but it's more like a fly. The Reaper cannot kill the Adept can kill the fly pretty easy. But it gets on your nerves quite easy, and so the Adept stays close to this, very close to this CC to make sure to just zone out the CVs, but no, not too much of a delay. Wait, what is that? Clem? Alright, never mind. First Marines just were in time very good. So that early... That was rubbish. That early was rubbish for Gerald. So I would call Clem a little bit ahead. We see Blink open up by Gerald. And he will definitely back this up with War Prison and probably with Immortals. The question is if he is brave enough to raid the main of Clem. And if Clem is going for tanks, that will be a huge problem. But it doesn't look like it. He wants Stim. What I've seen out of Clem for like half of the day was very aggressive 2-base and no really early third CC timings. Wait, is it a straight up Colossus play? Oh wow, that lucky Widow Mine. Sometimes you can just walk a Widow Mine into the economy of a Protoss when he's not watching and there's no full wall of, no stalkers hanging around. But Gerald manages to catch this one directly. You might think, okay, that's just one small widow mine. What could it do? It could kill you 9 probes at once. Alright. Hopefully nothing too bad happening here. Blazer Gerald asking for a couple of split seconds. Feel free to sing the Jeopardy song in your head. That's helpful. Yeah, but you never know what's up there now. It might be that some hotkey is missing, or I had that once, that one of my keys just broke out of the keyboard, and I was like, okay, my F is broken. I cannot even press F anymore. And those are things you have to directly tackle if you don't want to fall behind. Alright, bunkers up. Gerald needs to be careful. Really, really careful. He has an observer. He just needs to make sure that it's not being sniped and blinking onto the main with 3 marauders and that many marines waiting. This is no good idea. Not even for a good story. Beautiful trade. 4 marines or 3 marines without losing anything. Just a couple of HP on those stalkers. Oh, there's a Viking landed in the economy line of Gerald. He is tackling that problem with stalkers, which is kind of okay. Losing 3 probes, not the worst. But Gerald has no chance. He needs to pull back to be in position to fight those marines and marauders. He has 1 shield battery and a cannon. And if I remember last map, it actually worked out quite well. There are 2 sentries, so Clem has to be really careful with because force fields can cut off his way to victory. Super easy. Beautiful micro by Gerald. Not getting any damage on his own stalker, but yeah, he just prevents Clem from doing what he wants to do in a beautiful manner. This drop though, that will hurt. The stalkers are not in place. Cannon will be too late, and the recall is on cooldown. So there's just a Colossus, and he's even boosting back into the main. Right, those middle mines being spotted is very important. You don't want to lose there right away. Clem has to defend in multiple position right now. It is really hard to control. He's losing a couple of probes here and there. Widow mines not dealing too much damage. Those medevacs are even getting out of there. And so do these. So, a lot of things going on. Clem still lost more than Gerald. Beautiful defense. There was action on 3 bases and Gerald managed to stay alive. Not losing probes to those widow mines. Not using the Colossus, for example. Which is often a problem as well if they just walked out of the robotics facility. Oh, he's looking for the drop. And he finds it. Yeah, losing 2 stalkers there. Not the best one. And 1 medevac gets out of the way. Wow. Both of the players really forcing a lot here. Clem did manage to exfiltrate so many of his units. I don't know how he actually did that. Clem is a magician. He makes units appear and disappear without any problem. So sadly that observer is still around. By the way, by doing this in a game, you can actually spot one observer. Because the observer is not moving and you see it shivering. So in terms of upgrade, everything is fine. But Gerald is getting stormed and disruptors at the same time. while having a couple of Colossus waiting at home. So there comes a time when AoE is just too much for Terran to deal with, unless you have good EMPs to deliver. Well, and a Ghost Academy is the first step of having a lot of ghosts. So take it there on both sides. It's all about the composition now, and the positioning of the fight slider. There's so many good spots and so many bad spots to fight. If the Terran, for example, gets the bigger concave, the pure power, the pure DPS of Bioforce is absolutely demolishing. Oops. Recalling the Disruptor, and the Stalkers have to stay back. Alright. The main problem for Terran is if there is a lot of charge zealots, because zealots, they are like bullet sponges. They deal damage as well, but they are keeping the distance for the Stalkers so they can shoot in peace. And here's our engagement. Storm is finished. The first one does go into the nowhere zone. We have 2 cannons and 2 shield batteries here. More zealots are being warped in. 8 gateways behind this. So that position, by the way, is not good for Clem. He's very clumped up. But he wants to kill that 4th Nexus, and he gets it so easy. But while kiting those Protoss army, which is very well controlled by Gerald, he's losing a lot. Alright. Yeah. Tactical the little tactical advantage here is the 4th base already being placed. One of Gerald's has to be replaced. Gerald needs a good trade. Gerald needs a decent fight. And I ain't talking about like something decent. We are talking about the Disruptor hit of the year. That's a sad Disruptor for sure. Gerald tried, but you know what? Those Marines are hard to catch. And Clem doesn't even have to push. He's just mastering Liberators and Vikings, making sure every position he has units and is probably unbreakable. Because as soon as you blink forward to take out those Liberators, you are standing in Marauder range. And if you're standing in Marauder range, all of your Stalkers just disappear. So big run by on this planetary, while the main army is kind of zoning this Terran army out. Liberators are sieging up, no range yet, but the damage is far enough to make sure that Gerald is not moving in quite longer. Yeah, planetary is still standing. Just a couple of SCVs did go down. And that was just an expensive loss of minerals for the Protoss. And here comes the push. 180. 130, I'm sorry, I'm bad at math. Of those army units. So many Liberators. There will be so much space as a dead zone for the Protoss. We just had 11 Stalkers. Vikings are flying in right through the storm, sniping all those Colossus. And Gerald, there's no way he can survive this. Even the Vikings are cleaning up so much stuff. Liberators in every spot. There is no army left to fight with. 18 supply left. But Gerald seems to be hanging on to this. He doesn't give up that easy. But what are his options? I'd say he needs to get rid of the production of Clem. Then with a good fight he might be back into this. But as long as Clem is mining so much money, and has that amount of army. It's really problematic. Okay, that Liberator with just 3 probe kills, that is fine. That is fine for the Protoss. But fine is not enough. He needs a small miracle. Like Jesus getting back to life. I don't know if Gerald comes back to life. What sure is, he doesn't get 3 days. He is getting EMPs. Oh, Storm was sick. Yeah, he's just forcing seconds to live out here with every storm. But now he doesn't have any storm. That Purification Nova goes into the nowhere zone. Can Zealots fight him back? The 3-3 on the Terran not being finished yet doesn't matter. It is just too much Clem on this map. 1-1. Clem is evening out this series and he is back onto this best of 5.